The sun rose over the small village of Ilu Oba, nestled in the lush green hills of rural Nigeria. A rooster's crow pierced the morning air as the villagers stirred in their mud and stick huts. Young Adanna stretched and yawned as rays of light filtered into the room she shared with her parents and 4 siblings. It was time to start another day. Adanna helped her mother Ifeoma prepare a simple breakfast of millet porridge before her siblings awoke. She carried the heavy clay pot outside and built up the cooking fire. As Ifeoma chopped cassava root into the bubbling porridge, Adanna fetched water from the well. She easily lifted the overflowing bucket onto her head and walked gracefully back to their hut. Ifeoma frowned slightly. At 10 years old, Adanna was unusually strong for her age. Some would say unnaturally strong. After the morning chores were finished, Adanna ran outside to meet her best friend Ozioma. The girls greeted each other excitedly. "Let's go pick mangoes today from Old Man Okoro's farm," said Ozioma. Adanna grinned and raced after her friend toward the lush mango grove just outside the village. The girls scrambled up the mango trees, bare feet gripping the rough branches. Adanna reached the topmost branches with ease, picking the juiciest mangoes for Ozioma below. She filled her skirt with the ripe fruit before clambering back down. Ozioma's eyes widened in awe as Adanna landed lightly on the ground. "How do you climb so high? It's like you're half monkey," she exclaimed. Adanna just laughed and bit into the sweet mango, juice running down her chin. The girls spent the rest of the morning playing hide-and-seek among the trees, oblivious to the passing time. Only when Adanna's stomach started rumbling did they gather their skirts laden with mangoes and head back to the village. They were halfway home when shouting and commotion erupted from the direction of the village. Adanna froze, a sense of dread washing over her. Something was wrong. She dropped the mangoes and sprinted toward Ilu Oba, her powerful legs swiftly carrying her across the fields. Raiders on horseback swarmed the village entrance, wielding axes, swords, and spears. They ransacked food stores and set fire to huts, terrorizing the defenseless villagers. Adanna arrived to find chaos and destruction. Armed men chased fleeing women and children while others looted anything of value. Adanna spotted her mother struggling with a raider attempting to rip the necklaces from her neck. Without thinking, she raced over and tackled the man with tremendous strength. He collapsed to the ground unconscious. Ifeoma's eyes were wide. "Go," Adanna urged her mother. "Take the children and run." Adanna looked around desperately as raiders pillaged the homes of her family and friends. She had to do something. As 2 men emerged from a burning hut dragging her neighbor's food baskets, Adanna picked up a heavy stick and whacked one man hard across the back. He stumbled and collapsed. The other released the baskets and charged toward Adanna with his spear. She swiftly dodged the spear and swung the stick against the back of his head. He crumpled to the ground. For a brief moment, Adanna paused in shock. Had she really done that? But the sounds of screaming villagers jolted her back to the present. Gripping her stick, she ran to help an elderly man struggling with a raider. One by one, Adanna felled raiders with her inhuman strength and speed. The surge of energy flowing through her small body felt powerful, but also right. This was what her gifts were for, to protect her people when no one else could. The raiders soon realized someone was resisting them. One headed straight for Adanna, axe glinting in the sun. She stared him down, eyes blazing. As he swung his axe down, she slid to the left faster than he could perceive. In one swift motion, she struck his wrist, sending the axe flying. A blow to the chest knocked the breath from his lungs. By now, many of the villagers had escaped to the hills. Only a few stalwart men remained, attempting to defend their homes with farm tools. Adanna rallied them, emboldening them with her own fearless resistance. Together, they forced the remaining raiders to retreat from the ravaged village, chasing them back into the bush. As the adrenaline rush faded, Adanna slumped to the ground exhausted. The villagers gathered around her in awe. Just hours before, they had cast suspicious glances her way, whispering about strange occurrences and unnatural strength. Now she had single-handedly saved them all. Adanna's parents ran to embrace their daughter, pride mingled with sorrow. They knew life would never be the same for her after this. For good or for ill, Adanna's secret was out. She was a witch, or something even more. In the following days, suspicion turned to praise and gratitude for Adanna. But she noticed the undercurrent of fear in people's eyes. They now knew she had power and abilities far beyond their understanding. Soon, she found the other village children avoiding her, parents steering their daughters away. Gifts of fish, yams and gourds flooded her family's hut, given in gratitude but also appeasement. Adanna had become an outsider in her own village. Weeks passed and life regained a semblance of normalcy. The scars from the raid slowly began to heal, but Adanna knew a piece of her childhood had been lost forever. She now stood apart, isolated by her powers. The dry season came early that year. The village well began to run low, then dry up completely. Livestock fell ill without water, crops withered in the fields. Hunger set in. The chief called a council of elders to discuss what could be done. As they conferred, Adanna's friend Ozioma ran up urgently. "Please, Adanna says she knows where to find water to save the village." The elders paused to listen. The chief scowled in skepticism. "Bah! She is just a child. What could she know?" But the elder priestess intervened. "There is truth and wisdom beyond her years. I say we let the girl speak." The chief grunted in assent. Ozioma excitedly brought Adanna before the council. She bowed respectfully to the elders. "If you walk a half-day's journey into the hills, there is a hidden spring beneath a great iroko tree," Adanna explained. "I happened upon it one day while climbing. Please, allow me to lead you." The elders argued and debated. Finally, the chief stood. "Take us there at once, girl. If you speak the truth, you will save us all." Adanna led a group from the village on the long trek into the hills. The sun beat down oppressively as they walked. Doubts plagued the tired villagers. There was no sign of a spring or any water at all, but Adanna remained steadfast. As the sun dipped low, she pointed ahead. "There, do you see?" A massive iroko tree stood atop a secluded rise, overlooking a small pond fed by a trickling spring. The villagers rushed forward ecstatically, drinking the cool water and filling every container they carried. Their faith was restored in Adanna. She had saved them yet again. Life returned to Ilu Oba as water flowed freely once more. The elders and villagers now looked upon Adanna with respect instead of fear. Her gifts were cause for reverence, not exile. The priestess took Adanna under her tutelage, helping her develop her talents and harness her power for good. She learned of herbs that healed, plants that spoke, and rituals to commune with the spirit world. Adanna devoted herself fully, determined to honor the gift she'd been given. One day news came that a great fever spread rapidly from village to village. Adanna accompanied the priestess to visit the sick, armed with medicine brewed from sage, elderflower, and yarrow. Her heart broke to see so many suffering, especially the children. That night, Adanna retreated into the hills to clear her mind. She meditated beneath the iroko tree, breathing deeply. In a trance state, she saw the right combination of plants to treat the fever. The priestess prepared the medicine exactly as Adanna instructed. Within days, the worst afflicted were nursed back to health.
While most now saw Adanna's powers as a blessing, some in the village remained wary. Fear is often harder to erase fully than hatred, but Adanna rose above their distrust, proving again and again her good heart and noble purpose. Adanna devoted her life to developing her talents to protect and provide for her people. Though she stood apart in many ways, the village of Ilu Oba was her home. Whenever adversity threatened, the villagers looked to Adanna for salvation. Her mystical gifts became central to their collective memory and identity. Tales were spun of her exploits that grew more fanciful with each telling. But the core truth remained. She was savior and sentinel, wielding extraordinary. That's it, folks. Be sure to subscribe to our channel Pigtales for more stories like this one. Leave a comment letting us know what folktales you'd like to see come to life. Don't forget to like and subscribe for new African tales and fables every week.